So I'm gonna assume that if you're watching this, you're either like related to me or you're like one of my friends. You know me somehow, but I'll do a brief intro anyway. I'm Casey. I'm a university student currently doing my junior year abroad. So I study in like Indiana back in the States, and I'm here studying in Canterbury, England. I'm doing an academic year program. I started school a few days ago and I don't go back to the States until, I don't know. I wanted to do a monthly wrap up of the places I've been mostly. I didn't really want to write a blog. I think it's just easier for me to find my voice when I'm talking. Also, I can show you what I was seeing and then tell you about what I was thinking so you get my experience except like in a video instead of in my head. I traveled a lot in September, and here is a part where I talk about where I went. My godparents and I traveled before I started school. We went from Chicago to London. We arrived in the morning, 7:30 London time, 1:30 to my body. I was going through customs. I was very tired and very grumpy, not feeling it. When we arrived and we did a bus tour, one of my London bucket list things was to go on a double-decker bus. That's really something that you can only do in London, to take those cool little red double-decker buses. I wish I had like footage of it to show you things that I saw, but it didn't really occur to me that I should probably be documenting this experience until we were already like in Paris. We had a really cool tour guide. We saw like Westminster Abbey, Big Ben, the Tower of London, which I still want to go back to, outside Buckingham Palace, the London Eye, cool stuff. We went to Harrods, which was huge. It's so big. It's a giant department store with a lot of really upscale brands, Louis Vuitton and stuff like that. You don't really buy things there unless you have a lot of money. Unless you're buying like food. It was cool just to see the architecture. They have like this Egyptian escalator and some really breathtaking rooms. A like jewelry room with marble walls that were backlit. It was beautiful. We went to Buckingham Palace. In general, I'm not a huge fan of palaces and castles. A lot of the times they're just rich people happen to have lived in them a long time ago and now they're just museums. The architecture is cool, but they don't feel lived in. But people do still live in Buckingham Palace. I think it was William who was baptized in the music room, which is part of the tour. So you get to see this actual part of the royal family's lives in this place that they actually inhabit. And we went to the Globe. We saw a showing of Macbeth. Costumes were cool. Music was cool. It's built like the original Globe, so we were in some of the seats. And then there's the pit in the center, which is right in front of the stage, full of people. Another thing we did in London was I had to pick up my biometric residence permit, which like says that I'm allowed to stay here for the year. It's part of my visa. We had to have it shipped from Canterbury to London, and so every day we were going in there to ask questions about it and then to make sure that they could actually send it to us. I made some really good friends at the Baker Street post office. One of the first places we went was Ile de la Cité. Visited Notre Dame. It's gorgeous and huge, and I'm always impressed by just the breadth of things in real life. Like, pictures are just so small and you're like, yeah, that looks like it's gonna be big. And then you see it in real life and it's astounding. One of my favorite books is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins, which takes place in Paris. She visits Poincaré. All distances in France are measured from Poincaré in Paris. And the myth is that if you step on Poincaré that you're going to come back. It's also really close to the bookstore Shakespeare and Company. It's all English language books, even though it's in Paris. It's just such a beautiful interior. Like, of course everything is lined with books, but there's also, as you go up the stairs, it says, "I wish I could show you when you're lonely or in darkness the astonishing light of your own being." And then you walk upstairs, and before you walk into one of the reading rooms, it says, "Be not in hospital to strangers, lest they be angels in disguise," which is also just such a beautiful sentiment. Not only are you surrounded by all of these beautiful books in this beautiful bookstore, but you're also surrounded in a different way by these beautiful words. I got 2 books, one of which I'm currently reading, which is The Adventures of Chevalier in Clay by Michael Chabon. One of my goals is to just one day just go in there and read because I think that would be lovely. We also went to the Pompidou Center for Modern Art, which is a wonky building. Their art collection is really cool. They have a lot of really cool Picasso paintings, and it's really well curated. I liked how it was all displayed. It's free for students. The view from the top floor is incredible. Like Sacré-Cœur is on one side and the Eiffel Tower is on the other, and you can just see Paris laid out for you. It's gorgeous. We did like our grocery shopping on the Rue Claire, which is, it's just like a road, and it has really gorgeous cheese shops and wine shops and fruit just laid out in front of you with wasps. The way that you would imagine flies buzzing around, there were wasps buzzing around, which is kind of off-putting, but it was really nice. And there are lots of lovely cafes, and you hear everyone around you speaking French, and the shopkeepers barely speak English, so you have to like break out of your bubble and speak with them. And then on the last day, oui, mes amis, Galerie Lafayette. That's been stuck in my head ever since I went there. Galerie Lafayette is just like a huge department store, I guess. Kind of similar to Harrods, except I think a little bit more down to earth than Harrods. So we were in Paris for a week, and then we went back to London just for one night. I actually got sick, so it was not like the best part of the travel experience. Luckily I recovered in time to head to Canterbury the next day. Then I moved into this apartment, flat. They call them flats here. So that's been the travel that I did in the month of September. September was hectic. September and August were hectic. I was living out of my suitcase for 6 or 7 weeks, and now I actually am settled in, and it's so nice. My clothes are in drawers instead of just shoved into my suitcase. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope that you liked seeing kind of where I've been and what I've been doing. If you want kind of more up-to-date information about where I'm going and what I'm doing, my Snapchat is pcarbide. That's really the only places you can reach me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.